Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Majors Live, episode 307 here on TMS Next Radio, themajors.net. I am Adam Hernandez. Dorf is
Mr. Part-Timer now.
Shawn's gonna get his shots in right now.
Yeah, I know. If I miss 1 week, I'm Mr. Part-Timer. He misses a week, it's okay. I'm gonna remember that.
Well, Dorf, as he said last week, he was, he was celebrating Christmas with his family this week, and we are not going to be on for the next 2 weeks after tonight, and then we will be back on Monday nights from now on when we do return. That'll be January 8th, I believe. So mark your calendars, everybody. Shawn, how are you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be back because I'm not part-timing anymore. I'm here.
Well, it's good to have you back.
Yes, I missed you guys.
How was how's life been for you?
Busy. You know,
All right.
I missed last week because of the Pistons game. I couldn't really pass up those tickets.
How was it?
It was phenomenal. Like, that stadium is ridiculous.
Is it?
I was literally like 5 rows from the court, right behind the Boston's.
And we're talking about Little Caesars Arena.
Yes, Little Caesars Arena. And
in Detroit.
I actually was in they have clubs like throughout the entire stadium. There's like 4 different clubs, and I was in the Raymond Club. And I walked, like, as soon as I walked in, I walked around the corner, and there was a buffet of food from like probably like 150 feet long. I just stood there staring at it. I was just like, where am I?
Did you see anybody famous there?
No. I was too busy eating and getting free alcohol and all this stuff. So
yeah, because I went up in the like the Players Club or something like that at Comerica, and I remember seeing like Jalen Rose there, like scarfing down nachos. And there's some other people up there as well. There's like Mickey Lolich up there.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But yeah, those when you get access to certain areas of arenas or stadiums, yeah, it's definitely very, very cool to to be in those places. But yeah, I still have to get down to see that the new Little Caesars Arena because it looks
really nice.
It looks amazing.
It is. And the funny thing is, how like when everybody like they're talking about how there's like nobody ever going to the Wings games or the Pistons game. No, there's people there. There's actually walking around or hanging out in the clubs. To be honest, yeah, like seriously, there was tons of people. Like even during like in the middle of the quarters when you go walk around. There's lines upon lines at the concession stands to
so when
everything.
Games are going on.
Yeah, when their games going on, nobody's watching the game anymore because there's so much attractions going around the entire stadium.
So people are still trying to, take everything in with the new,
pretty much
with the new arena, and the empty seats is a little misleading.
Yes,
when you factor in the people that are kind of browsing around and stuff. Still, okay, that's fair enough because. You when you looked and saw the empty seats and everything at Red Wings games and Pistons games, I was a little concerned. I figured that that not even a new arena could bring people to watch these two teams, which is kind of disheartening, especially for somebody like the Pistons who that was one of the big stigmas with that team. That was one of the big things with them, whereas if you bring them back to downtown Detroit, the people would end up coming back.
Right.
So hopefully that, hopefully people end up finding their seats sooner rather than later.
It's so funny, like when I was sitting there, I was noticing people were coming down like finally in the third quarter. Then I saw that I thought there were going to be empty seats throughout the entire game. They're coming down in the fourth quarter. It's like, oh, now you're coming down, It's like, wait a second here.
Well, awesome. How was parking?
Super easy.
Was it?
Super easy.
How much did you spend?
I had...
Did you have passes?
I had a parking pass.
So did you park in the garage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Like, dude, like driving into the parking garage, how steep those hills are. You know how like you have the little hills when you go up the ramps and stuff like that? I bottomed my car out.
Oh, really?
I literally bottomed my car. I'm like, how? I'm like, who does this? I'm like, that was ridiculous. Like, I've never seen a ramp in a parking garage so steep in my life. It was pretty crazy. When I bottomed my car out, I was like, all right. And you can see the scrape marks already just all throughout.
Cars,
Cars bottom out like left and right.
Huh.
It's pretty funny, but it's nice. It's very nice. You have to get down there soon.
Yeah, I definitely need to get down there. But this week's show, like I said, this will be the last one of 2017. We will come back beginning of January 8th, for episode 308. Funny how that works out. 307, then 308.
Oh, nice.
Anyways, our fan question this week, will there ever be a viable alternative to the NFL in the United States? We're going to be talking a little bit about that later on. The big three tonight, though, Marvin Lewis leaving the Bengals after 15 seasons. Now, Shawn, this is a little... there's some back and forth regarding this. Because Marvin Lewis has come out and said he doesn't know where that report came from. Mm-hmm. And I believe Adam Schefter originally brought this report on that Marvin Lewis is leaving the Bengals after this season. If that is the case, Marvin Lewis would have completed 15 seasons with the Bengals without winning a single playoff game.
How?
It's amazing, first of all, that he was able to... When you consider the shelf life of an NFL coach, the shelf life of an NFL coach, I believe, is at the most 5 years. 5 years. Marvin Lewis has tripled that. And in that time, he has been able to not win a playoff game, which to me is incredibly... that's an amazing feat to accomplish, because you would have figured during that time period he would have accidentally run into a playoff win during that stretch of time, which is that same line of thinking that I use when I look at the Detroit Lions, who haven't won a playoff game since, 1991?
Something like that.
I think they have one playoff win since like the late 50s.
And the amount of coaches that Detroit has gone through.
Exactly. So it isn't unheard of what Marvin Lewis has been able to do, but it's certainly amazing because, like I was saying, that you would have figured that during that time, you would have accidentally run into a playoff win here or there.
Especially, I'm looking at the records since 2001, since he's been there, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. So he's won the division 4 times. So wouldn't you think that they would have won?
And that's what I'm saying. I know. Is you would have accidentally run into a playoff win, and they do happen. Mm-hmm. Dallas a couple of years against the Lions.
Right.
That is running into a playoff win. When the no or the pickup flag on the pass interference, and that was running into a playoff win.
Right.
I was thinking to myself that Marvin Lewis, if the report was correct, if the Schefter report was correct, that he would have been saving the Bengals from themselves. Mm-hmm. And now the report's coming out is that Hugh Jackson is being fought over between Cleveland and the Bengals, which I believe the Big Lead has captioned it as the saddest tug of war in NFL history.
I know, right?
But, oh man, I have to, you have to assume, Shawn, you have to assume that Marvin Jones has to be gone at the end of this year.
There's no doubt about it.
They just got killed today by the Minnesota Vikings. Yes. The Minnesota Vikings have been having a phenomenal year, don't get me wrong.
But did you watch any of that game?
I didn't see any of that game today.
How does Andy Dalton have a starting... I'm like, how does he start games? I don't understand. Because literally, he has no coordination whatsoever with any of his receivers all the time. AJ Green saves him of actually probably being a quarterback more times than you think. And you look at it, I think it was like last week when I saw that Andy Dalton and AJ Green have like over 50 some odd touchdowns together. Mm-hmm. But Andy Dalton has also thrown for over 40 interceptions going to AJ Green. In their, I think, is it 4 years they've been playing together or something like that? 3 or 4 years? That's awful. That's awful. How does this guy have a job? How did Marvin Lewis last that long? It makes no sense to me.
No, it doesn't. It's an anomaly right now that what we're seeing right now with Marvin Lewis.
And he's had 7 losing seasons as a coach.
I kind of look at that the same way that Jeff Fisher was able to keep a job as long as he has. I'm not sure. I mean, when you look at Jeff Fisher, at least Jeff Fisher was, and this is the very, very least. I mean, don't don't mistake my defense of him in this instance as me thinking he's some phenomenal coach or a guy that deserves a job, because Jeff Fisher was one of the worst coaches in the NFL when he did have a job. But Jeff Fisher was living on that limited success that he had in Tennessee. That's all that he was living on. He lived through all those seasons with the St. Louis Rams, was able to go to LA with the Rams when they moved to LA, and was able to some way get a contract extension. But thankfully thankfully if you're an LA Rams fan, I know there's not many of them out there, judging on the attendance at their games. He was fired. He didn't live out that contract, and thankfully for the Rams, they got a new coach in there, and they're doing great now. Jared Goff looks like an entirely new quarterback. But that has to be that's the same line of twisted thinking that we have here with some of these NFL franchises, that a coach is somehow going to turn it around in some convoluted way of thinking that they're going to somehow find success when. And in Marvin Lewis's case, there really wasn't a whole lot of success there. No. Just like Jeff Fisher, there wasn't a whole lot of success there to begin with.
Jeff Fisher, basically all he had was Chris Johnson and Lindell White, duo. That's all he ever had.
Yeah, and he had Steve McNair with Tennessee, who was pretty good. And there wasn't.
There really wasn't anything. And then you could say with Lewis, all he's ever had was AJ Green. You could say he had Chad Ochocinco at the time.
Well, yeah, it's
Carson Palmer for 1 year.
Ochocinco was really good.
Other than that,
Ochocinco was really good at times.
He hasn't had much.
He only had Carson Palmer for 1 year? No.
Yeah, it was according to this. Where was I at?
No, wait,
because Carson Palmer was injured so much, he didn't get to play that much for him.
That can't be right.
Because on here it says, he had 2 years. My bad. I looked at it wrong. More than that. Okay. Injury-wise, he's had him for... Never mind, I was wrong. I was reading this wrong. He had Palmer for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years.
Okay. And Carson Palmer was good.
Yes, until that one playoff game when he blew his knee out.
That's against the Steelers, too.
Yeah, and I'm telling you right now, if he wouldn't have got... The way that game was going, if he wouldn't have got hurt, they would have won. I bet you they could have gone to the Super Bowl that year.
They could have.
Because the way he was playing, and then when his knee went out, the momentum switch of that game, I remember that it just went downhill fast. Went downhill.
Yeah, that was that was tough. That was tough for him. Tough for Cincinnati, too. Because that may have been a big-time dagger for them.
Yep, I remember that was 2009. That was when they won the division.
That was all the way back in 2009? Mm-hmm. Wow. Anyways, moving along here, Shawn. I want to get... Last two on our big three. Andrew Luck may need bicep surgery coming back from Europe. I don't know how that's going to affect his playing status going into next season.
Just get it done. That's all I say. I'm like, quit wasting time.
What? They need to... If they're gonna salvage anything out of Andrew Luck, out of the promise that he had coming out of Stanford, just do what you need to do with him.
Exactly.
Do what you need to do with him. If he's out, he's out.
Yeah, quit stalling. Quit, just make up your mind, get it over with.
Do they have to?
Yeah, I'm like, they're stalling. This, to be honest, this surgery probably should have happened 7 months ago.
It's just, it's frustrating for them, though, and I understand it, too. I mean... Andrew Luck, and Dorf has said it before on the show, he thinks Andrew Luck is done.
I agree, to be honest.
Not done in the sense that his career is over, because I think both of us think, Dorf and I, for that matter, and I'm sure you do too, Shawn, that I think he's done in the sense of living up to his potential.
Right,
I think that's totally out the door.
That
could have been out the door a long time ago.
Right, yeah. Just get healthy now, take your time, maybe come back as a backup quarterback, and eventually I bet you the guy could probably be a head
I think he makes too much money to be a backup.
Well, I'm just saying, it's going to be a while before he gets back. I don't know how much he has left on his contract or whatever, but...
Indianapolis is going to have to power through this. They're going to have to find some way to make it work, and somehow making it work is just getting it done. Yep. Getting it done. If he's out for part of next season, who cares? Yep. They're going to suck anyway.
I know, they're going to be so bad.
They got to get something out of it, though, or they need to find a way to...
Restructure the contract.
Restructure it, trade him, something. Speaking of injury too, Shawn, Steven Strasburg may skip future All-Star games due to injury concerns. What do you think about that?
Be smart.
Yeah, I think
it is
too.
How injury prone that guy is, but how much potential, like how amazing pitcher he is when he's healthy.
Seems like when he's on, he's on.
Oh my gosh, yeah. When I'm like, even with the arm problems, he still throws almost 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Do you think maybe that could be some of the problem, though?
Yes.
Maybe they need to scale it
been,
back a little bit?
Well, that's how it is, Kids nowadays, obviously, they look at is how hard you throw. Mm-hmm. They don't care about mechanics or control. You throw 95 miles an hour, they're going to put you on the mound. Throw as hard as you can for 9 innings. That's what they say. And, Steven Strasburg, he was throwing almost 100 miles an hour in high school.
Is that what you told your kids in high school?
No.
Throw as hard as you can?
No, I didn't, because none of them threw hard.
Oh, really?
I was like, let's work on control.
Yeah, I would definitely, that's reassuring if you're a Nationals fan, hearing something like that. Anyways, though, Shawn, our leadoff tonight is Jerry Richardson, owner of the Carolina Panthers. He may end up being the NFL's version of Donald Sterling. And this comes from a Sports Illustrated lengthy report on Jerry Richardson's workplace conduct that is now under investigation by the NFL. And there is a lot of it's hard to say that any of this behavior is surprising now, considering everything that's coming out now, Shawn. Considering what we're hearing, with the Me Too movement, they're calling it the Women's Spring. But what was uncovered by this Sports Illustrated report are sexist and racist allegations against the Carolina Panthers owner. And here's a couple of things. The first paragraph is outlined like this. Friday was Jeans Day, which most staffers at the Carolina Panthers team offices would wear denim to work. The female employees knew what that meant. As the team's owner, Jerry Richardson, made his rounds on the way to his spacious office, he would ask women to turn around so he could admire their backsides. Then in his rolling southern drawl, he'd offer comment, drawing from a store of one-liners he'd recycle each week. Among those in heaviest rotation, show me how you wiggle to get those jeans up. I bet you had to lay down on your bed to fit into those jeans. Did you step into those jeans, or did you have to jump into them? Those were some of the lines coming from this creepy-ass old man. And then Deadspin was commenting on this. Panthers employees considered this sexual harassment to be non-threatening, and it was treated as something of a running office joke, according to the report. Richardson, who was reportedly called simply Mr. by his employees, also received a complaint for using an unidentified racial slur at an African-American scout, SI says. Here are some more gross details. He had a special interest in female grooming, they say. He would notice when their nails were not up to his standards and pay for them to get manicures. Multiple female employees recalled to SI that Richardson asked them if he could personally shave their legs.
When I read that, I did laugh pretty hard. I was like, what is going on here? I'm like, I would love just to follow him around and just listen to him and be like, I can tell you're an 81-year-old man. Why are you saying this? You're running a multi-billion-dollar company. You don't think nothing's going to happen?
Well, then there's more. Richardson was also known for what multiple women called a seatbelt maneuver. He would invite female employees out to lunch, and in keeping with his reputation as a self-styled gentleman, he would open the car door for his guests. Once they were seated, however, he would insist on fastening their seatbelt for them, reaching across their lap and brushing his hand across their breast before putting the belt in its clasp.
It's a classy move.
Yeah.
Classy move, dude.
Now, who knows what else is gonna come of this.
This is just the beginning.
Yeah.
Who knows what's behind, needs to be dug up on this guy.
And you know what, too? The thing with this, Shawn, is the NFL has now taken over the investigation with this. And I am certainly going to have my detractions about the NFL leading any investigation in any one of their franchises. When you consider the way that the NFL has conducted other investigations that could have the league looking at a negative limelight. Namely this, when you have an owner who has owned this team since Carolina's inception, I believe back in 1993, is the NFL going to be completely honest in what they uncover with this Jerry Richardson investigation? Are they going to be totally transparent? Because, like I said, the NFL hasn't been transparent in the past before.
Correct.
They haven't been transparent when it came to head injuries. They haven't been transparent when it came to juicing. They haven't been transparent when it came to, for instance, the Ezekiel Elliott investigation.
You know, that was the same thing. That wasn't Adrian Peterson to Maurice Jones-Drew. All that stuff.
All of these investigations the NFL has taken on themselves haven't been transparent. They've been very, very shady, to say the least. I don't think that the NFL can be trusted in this.
They can't. I'm saying, how can you trust them with all the previous situations that you've seen over the past? You could just say for the past few years, and just imagine how much they've been hiding for before that, and it just hasn't come out. That's the thing. It's like they've been caught in their own little lies so many times, and then they're saying the NFL is in charge of taking over the investigation. So it's like, so you're saying basically nothing's going to happen pretty much for 2 years down the road.
Well, that's 3 years down the road. Well, that's the thing is when they're dealing with this concussion thing. I mean, I don't think the NFL has still come out and said that concussions have anything to do with CTE. I don't think the NFL I don't think the NFL has done that. It's like the Catholic Church, a few decades ago, just admitting that the Earth revolves around the sun. Right. I think that and that's been the case with the I know the Catholic Church has probably been cognizant of that. Much further along the much further back than a couple of decades ago, but. I think that's what we're going to be kind of looking at here, because when it came to the NFL, looking at CTE and the correlation between concussions and that horrible brain disease, they wanted to get their own doctors on board so they could downplay it.
Yeah, so they can pay the doctors to say what they want to say.
Exactly, and. Nothing. I'm sorry. I cannot trust the NFL for 1 nanosecond that they're going to go and lead a transparent investigation into any of this. Now, what probably needs to happen is we probably need to have some of these employees file lawsuits against the Carolina Panthers, so we get more of a transparent investigation into some of this stuff. So we have independent lawyers coming in, digging through these allegations being levied against Jerry Richardson. So we finally get a transparent investigation at all of this, because like we said, the NFL cannot be trusted with any of this. And you know what? I'm sure that, that we're not going to see the last of this. I'm not going to say that the Panthers this is going to be an isolated incident with the Panthers. Everything that's starting to come out now, whether it's the allegations that we're seeing in politics or the news media or Hollywood, sports isn't immune to this. And we're going to be talking about ESPN in just a little bit here, but sports on its own, professional sports, and I'm sure it's going to happen in the college, in the college game as well, they're not going to be immune to this. We're going to be hearing more and more and more about this. And the Panthers, we've seen this a couple of months ago with the whole Cam Newton thing. Remember the Cam Newton thing with the female reporter and how we thought it was cute? How a female reporter was talking about different routes and everything, and that was piggish and uncalled for on Cam Newton's side of things. So the Panthers have dealt with this in some aspect. Now it's just going up all the way to Jerry Richardson and the ownership group here. Now what could come out of this? What could the NFL do if they end up uncovering more stuff? Could Jerry Richardson end up being Donald Sterling in all of this? Could he end up being forced out? Now, the NFL and Roger Goodell certainly have the ability to do so. They do have the ability to force this guy out if they wanted to. They would need 23 of the 31 owners not being investigated to vote in favor of his removal. Now, is this likely? No, it's not. I don't think that the NFL owners are going to go and actually vote one of their own out. And now remember, this is a franchise too. This isn't regular ownership. Shawn, if you owned a Domino's Pizza or a Little Caesars Pizza and you're doing something that wasn't putting a good if you're engaging in practices that wasn't good for the overall brand, Little Caesars could probably take their franchise away from you. That franchise away from you. Same with a Ford dealership or a Chevy dealership or, a Starbucks. If they wanted to, they could remove that franchise. And I know there was a whole bunch of uproar about Donald Sterling having his franchise removed because of free markets and yada, 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 yada. If more is uncovered, I think the NFL would be totally within their right to take this franchise away. And they have disciplined owners in the past. Jim Irsay, the owner of the Indianapolis Colts, was suspended for 6 games by Roger Goodell a couple of years ago for, I believe, there was a drunken driving charge and a drug charge against him, and he served it out. Now, I don't know exactly what the ramifications are, or what the downfall is to having an owner suspended, because the owner doesn't have any effect on the day-to-day operate or the day-to-day workings of what's actually being played out on the field. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I'm sure there's going to be
there's going to be so much more to come out.
I'm sure there will be.
They're just probably basically just playing, the waiting game and see what else comes out. They're going to try to take probably some action into it now to kind of, feed the fans, I guess you would say, on just getting, the information out, and then hopefully, they find, the correct discipline actions of, what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think that, I'm with you on more coming out about this. But the NFL could be put in a very precarious situation here. I mean, if it does come out that Jerry Richardson was divulging himself in in more serious things, more serious action within the office place here, who knows? The NFL may end up having their hands tied. And the NFL at this point right now, they don't need any more. And I don't want to say that the anthem protests are negative press, because I certainly agree with the background in terms of those anthem protests. The NFL, though, needs something. They don't need stories that they constantly have to be on the defensive with a large group of people. The NFL at this point in time right now needs to play offense on something.
Yes. They need to make the right choice because of how bad, I guess you could say, of situations that they've been dealing with. They have so much on their plate right now. They need to do something correct. They need to make the right choice here and do it, appropriate and business appropriate to kind of get their trust back. Like what we're saying, you and I both agree. You can't, we wouldn't trust them.
Yeah.
They need to do something to get that trust back. It's a start. It's not, they're not going to be able to do this one thing to get that trust back. They're going to do multiple things, and get this taken care of. This would be a huge start for them to get people to trust the NFL more.
I think step one in this, Shawn, would be hiring outside investigators.
Yes, should have been the first move right off the bat.
Hiring outside investigators to go and take a look at this so they can be totally transparent and really uncover the dirt and have this dirt go public, because I think I think the victims in this case need to be heard. In order for them to be heard,
they have to make the effort themselves.
Yeah,
too.
is to have their allegations reaffirmed by an independent investigation here.
Right.
Independent, away from the NFL, who already has a conflict of interest in this.
Right. So that's the thing. Like, they already know, so they need to take the next step. These people who are, being the victims of this harassment and all that stuff, they need to step forward. They need to,
press charges.
Yes, they need to do something. They need to get the outside help in. It's like, obviously, like what we were saying, the NFL is not they're going to take their sweet time.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to try to cover up as much as they can. And then the outside help is what needs to actually uncover it and solve the mystery and all that stuff of doing it.
Yeah. No, I agree. They need, we need to see, and people need to start taking this stuff, and they are. I mean, people are taking this seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the NFL and I think the Carolina Panthers need to take this seriously as well.
They do.
I know it's the owner here, but who knows? I mean, Jerry Richardson may end up leaving. He may end up finding himself stepping down.
He's
or
already
selling
a billionaire
franchise.
as it is.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, you're not losing much. Obviously, you're losing the Carolina Panthers if you do leave. But it's just like, dude, go home and be racist.
And you know what?
Don't do it at your business.
You know what? Too, he may end up. I mean, it's not like he would lose the organization and not gain monetarily from it.
Mm.
I mean, Donald Sterling, they ended up selling the franchise for him, and he got to keep a lot of those profits.
Yes, he did.
And this would be the same thing here with Jerry Richardson. I mean, he would keep a lot of profit from any sale that is conducted with the Carolina Panthers. And it's an NFL franchise, too. There's going to be people lining up to buy that.
Yes.
So, anyways, though, Shawn, do you have anything else on this?
Nope. I'm just playing the waiting game just like you to see what else comes out now.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at bitches and badasses this week. Shawn, who's your badass this week?
I'm actually going to go with quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Foles.
Okay.
Dude, he looked phenomenal for his first game of the season, backing up Wentz. And
who's out for the season?
Who's out season with a torn ACL. Mm-hmm. And Nick Foles obviously was a starter beforehand. Obviously struggled and all that stuff, and he got the job done, but it wasn't what Carson Wentz did. What they brought him in for. But today he phenomenal, just destroy. Obviously, I know they're playing the Giants. It was a close game at first, but then you saw when Foles got onto that rhythm, he ended up throwing for 4 touchdowns, almost 300 yards. He looked good. So in my mind, I'm like, the Eagles should not be worried whatsoever, to be honest.
Yeah.
With the talent that
they clinched the division today.
Right. Yeah. I think they clinched last week.
Did they clinch last week?
They clinched last week. But I'm just saying.
Or maybe they clinched a bye.
They clinched the bye.
Did they clinch a bye this week?
They clinched the bye today, but they clinched the division last week.
Okay.
So, but anyways, basically, with what he has around him right now, you could throw I'm trying to think of a Joey Harrington in there, and he probably would do good. That amount of talent around that guy for the Eagles is just ridiculous.
All right.
They're perfectly fine for the playoffs.
My badass this week is Casey Sager. She is the daughter of the late Craig Sager. And my badass ties in with my bitch this week. Because Casey Sager called out my bitch of the week, which is Britt McHenry, formerly of ESPN. So we'll go ahead and we will get into the bitches right now. And
you just keep going.
Yeah, I'm going to keep on going here because Britt McHenry, since she left ESPN, she has been nothing but, and I believe, I forgot who called her this, but she is turned out to be basically a right-wing troll looking to pick fights with anybody and anybody on Twitter, and she sounds like a total freaking loser while she's doing it, because the only thing that Britt McHenry is doing right now is trying to audition for a job for Fox News. That's what Britt McHenry is trying to do. And basically what she was doing is she was calling out Casey Sager's brother for God knows why. I have no idea. But but like I said, Britt McHenry, her biggest struggle right now was trying to stay relevant when she was never really relevant to begin with.
Right.
I cannot stand Britt McHenry. She needs to...
She's just digging herself in. She's not going to get a job the way what she's doing.
Well, she might
for a low somebody, way lower.
Yeah. But I'm glad Casey Sager called her out. It was great. You need to go on Twitter and read, anybody out there who hasn't seen it yet, go to Casey Sager's Twitter and read her response to this bitch Britt McHenry, because that's exactly what Britt McHenry is. She is a total and utter bitch. And I cannot stand her. I cannot, because all she is, the only thing that she is a troll. She was never good when she was with ESPN. She tried to pull that, do you know who I am card, which was, to a poor tow truck worker when she got her car towed. And then thankfully, she lost her gig over at ESPN. But she is a horrible person. She needs to just go away and not. Just I'm so sick of seeing her pop up on Twitter and whatever. Go ahead, Shawn. Who's your bitch this week?
My bitch, I'm actually gonna go with the New York Knicks. Dude, come on. You making a tribute to Carmelo, to the guy who trash talked you so much while he was playing for you, and ever since you got rid of him, you've actually been doing better. You should have made a tribute of saying, thank you for the shitty years and ruined our franchise for, 15 years while you were here. Don't Carmelo, you've been great. You treated us fantastic. Know what? You were a little bitch, and we're glad you're gone, and we're doing way better without you.
Yeah, I never understood. I never got why they would do
I don't understand
a tribute video to Carmelo.
Yeah, I'm like, he talks so much trash and always like, I want to be traded. I hate it here. This is an awful place. He'd say, oh, I'm trying to bring other people in here, but he's like, no, I'm gonna go somewhere else. I'm gonna go where I'm appreciated. No, why would you do that to somebody who did all that over all those years playing for you?
Well, even if he liked to play for the New York Knicks,
I still would. I wouldn't even do a tribute if he
didn't do anything with them.
Right? They didn't win. I think they may have won a few playoff games. If they even made the playoffs.
I don't know if they made the playoffs.
Yeah, I'll look it up. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that, but it's like, dude, I'm like, come on, guys.
Huh.
I'm like, just move on from this, dude. You actually have a winning record right now. You're 16-13 in the division. I mean, Eastern Conference, So it's like, dude, move away. Obviously, the only reason why he's winning for the Warriors is because he has Curry over there. Like, there's no... I bet if Curry wasn't there and all these other guys that were so good for the Warriors, Carmelo would be in the same situation he was with the New York Knicks. He wouldn't be winning.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, moving on, Shawn. We talked about the Carolina Panthers and what they're going through right now with their owner. And the next sports entity that is, that's coming out and we're finding that is having their own problems with sexual harassment is ESPN. And much like the NFL, ESPN hasn't exactly been having the best press as of late. We know that their financial problems are very, very real. Back in late November, they just underwent another round of layoffs. That followed up their first round of massive layoffs, which saw the end of guys like Jason Stark leave the network. This time, though, and who is this from? I believe the Boston Globe came out with a report of their own, just detailing just the massive amounts of their backwards culture in all of this with sexual harassment towards women. It is really quite troubling to hear everything that is coming out regarding the 4-letter. And here's one of the excerpts from that Boston Globe article. It said, some women said the environment at ESPN can be so hostile and plum positions for female sports journalists so precarious that they had hid pregnancies. And I read this before. This is awful. And felt pressure to take short maternity leaves in order to protect their positions. One anchor even did her scheduled broadcast while she was having a miscarriage to prove her commitment to her job, according to former employees. Another woman, one of the few solo female anchors on SportsCenter, said she was told her show was moving in another direction and she'd no longer have a job on it weeks before she went on maternity leave last year. She is one of several women, or several, who said they were given less desirable positions or laid off before, during, or after maternity leave. And I believe... You know what? I don't want to name names here, unless this is it right here. Yeah. So they already mentioned her name, but that one SportsCenter anchor that this happened to was Sara Walsh. And let me go ahead and read another excerpt here. But some current and former employees describe a highly competitive environment where female anchors feel disposable and where their dedication is sometimes challenged by male superiors. That's what colleagues say happened to Sara Walsh, the anchor who had the on-air miscarriage. Shortly after Mike McQuaid took over as vice president of SportsCenter in 2014, he questioned Walsh's commitment because she also worked for the fantasy show during the football season. Walsh, who had recently signed a multi-year contract and helped host an opening for ESPN's new digital center, was shocked that her new boss was raising concerns, according to 3 former employees briefed on the matter at the time. Walsh was so worried about her job that she decided not to call in sick when she started bleeding from a miscarriage during a work trip to Alabama. Instead, she went to the studio and anchored the show.
What?
She described the on-air miscarriage in an Instagram post on Mother's Day this past year, but Walsh told the Globe that she could not comment because she is still under contract. So Sara Walsh felt so threatened by the environment there, and that, you know, that she was disposable, that she actually went to work and had a miscarriage during a broadcast. And she still kept on going on. That is... I mean, imagine this, Shawn. And
I don't even know.
You and I are both males. Okay. Say that... So you're not married. Say your girlfriend. Say you and your girlfriend were having a kid. And your girlfriend felt so pressured by her employer that she felt that she could not take a day off when she was pregnant. And she was in a situation where the pregnancy was in danger. And she felt that she needed to go there based off of not just because she was having some unreasonable thought, because obviously Sara Walsh wasn't the only one who felt pressured in this situation, right, in a situation where that, you know, if she didn't go to work, that she would lose her job. Imagine that. Imagine being Sara Walsh's husband or the boyfriend of somebody, of a female employee who felt that they couldn't take a day off, to this extreme right here, where they went to work and actually perhaps lost a pregnancy due to that. I mean, imagine, I
would be furious.
We can't put ourselves in that situation into thinking of somebody like Sara Walsh, obviously. But I'm thinking to myself, if my wife felt so pressured that she couldn't go, that she couldn't take a day off because she was afraid of losing her job while she was pregnant, I would be livid.
I know. I'd be like, lose your job. I don't care. There's other jobs to find.
I would be going to that employer.
This is our kid's life.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, no.
I would be going to that employer, and they would probably have to take me out in handcuffs.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. They would have to take me out in handcuffs because there was, I don't want to say what, you know, I don't want to get myself in trouble.
Right.
But, you know, and there's more too. I mean, I think that's probably the worst of it. Maybe. Others are speaking openly. In her complaint, Adrienne Lawrence describes a toxic environment at ESPN headquarters where men make unwanted sexual and romantic advances under the guise of networking or mentoring and mark women as their own by spreading false rumors about sexual relationships with female employees. Lawrence accused John Bucharest, a longtime SportsCenter anchor who she viewed as a mentor, of sending unsolicited shirtless photographs of himself and calling her dollface, hashtag dreamgirl, and long legs in messages from 2016 reviewed by The Globe. Lawrence said she tried to remain cordial in the messages, but at one point responded, "You need to wear clothes, sir." When rumors spread that the two were in a relationship, Lawrence repeatedly complained to company officials and was advised by a superior to drop the matter, according to the complaint. Lawrence said ESPN retaliated against her by reducing her on-air shifts and ultimately denying her a permanent position. The other fellow, a male, received a job offer. The Globe interviewed 3 former employees who Lawrence had confided in at the time about her treatment and confirmed her account. Bucharest, roughly 2 decades older than Lawrence, acknowledged sending the photos but denied starting any rumors that the two were in a relationship. And Bucharest isn't there anymore, I believe. And then finally, there's one other thing here about Jen Sturger and her involvement with ESPN. The Barstool partnership also drew fire from Jen Sturger. Likewise, it also drew fire from Sam Ponder as well, a writer and actress who felt she had been sexually harassed at ESPN when she tried out for an on-air position in 2006. Since we are being honest, I will say this: I hate how Barstool Sports treats women, but the other side is just as bad, Sturger tweeted in October. And Barstool has had they've been outed before as being a group. I believe I've talked with Dorf about this before, and these are his words. He said that it seems like Barstool is run like a frat house. During her months-long audition, Sturger said an executive showed her a copy of Playboy magazine that she had modeled for, and then she was taken to a strip club by Matthew Berry, who was interviewing as a contributor for the fantasy show. The strip club outing was not a formal ESPN activity, but it followed a dinner with company employees and involved several male job candidates. Sturger said she initially did not realize where they were going, and she was teased about being uncomfortable once there. So, again, ESPN has obviously had their issues with their treatment of women. This Sara Walsh thing that's disturbing. That is incredibly disturbing on their end, and that Jen Sturger stuff was, I believe, back in, because here's a New York Daily News article on it, and this was back in October, still, a little bit before a lot of this stuff regarding women in Hollywood and politics and in the news media really started to come to a head. And again, I mean, this is something that definitely needs to be looked into. I'm hoping, much like the Carolina Panthers thing, that charges, that lawsuits are being levied against ESPN. They're being brought forth against ESPN because, like I said, that Sara Walsh stuff, that is sad. That is extremely disturbing. And if there is anything more to that, ESPN most certainly needs to be held accountable. And I hope that there is legal action being taken against ESPN because of this. Mm-hmm. Now, like we said earlier, Shawn, there are obviously heavy financial problems over at ESPN right now. Now, ESPN, as we all know, is owned by Disney. Mm-hmm. Disney just bought 20th Century Fox. I don't know if this is going to play into it at all. I don't know if Disney is going to take a look at this and start to clean house on their own over at ESPN. Mm-hmm. Should they? Probably. I think right now over at ESPN, I think that we need to see a Fox News type of purge.
Yes.
With all of this.
Yes.
I think that, look, do your investigations. Do what you need to do. expose the problem areas.
Mm-hmm. Weed out all the bad stuff.
Weed out all the bad stuff. And if you need to start fresh, then you need to start fresh.
You have the ability to start fresh. You own so much. You make billions of dollars.
Yes.
You can get new people. I'm pretty sure you can clean the house and just bring Peyton Manning in and you'd be fine. But you got to get him away from Nationwide.
Nationwide and Papa John's.
Oh, yeah, Papa John's. Well, he owns like half of Papa John's now.
You know, he needs a prominent role over at ESPN.
Yeah, he does.
Like a prominent role.
Mm-hmm. Dude, you realize how much...
Yeah. Tim Tebow needs a prominent role at ESPN.
You know what? I was kind of laughing.
Because you know who's not a dirtbag? Tim Tebow.
I know.
Tim Tebow's not a dirtbag.
I love Tim Tebow. I don't care what people say.
Anyway, what were you saying, Shawn?
No, I don't know why this popped into my head, but you know, I was watching the Panthers game today against the Packers, and watching Cam Newton throw the football and all this other stuff, like the way he plays, I'm like, he's really no different to me. Obviously, you know, like the way his throwing style was, it's no different than Tim Tebow. He has no control whatsoever when he throws the ball. Ever watch Cam Newton throw the ball? Yeah. If he couldn't run, Cam Newton would be awful.
Yeah.
He would be awful. Like, just so bad. It just blows my mind. I'm like, wow, I'm like, you have like literally the same exact arm motion as Tim Tebow. How did you make it this long in the NFL?
Cam Newton's been hit in the head many times.
I know. He's been, yeah. And it blows my mind. I'm like, wow, you were just so bad at throwing the football. So bad. You have a guy wide open and you throw it like 10 feet behind him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who also has a weird throw? Phillip Rivers.
Yes.
Phillip
Rivers. He's so good.
I love Phillip Rivers.
I do too.
I like Phillip Rivers a lot. He just has the weirdest throw.
He throws sidearm. Like, he's like, all his arms like so close to his body when he throws, and it's just like, he's like a half Uncle Rico kind of throw.
For me, with Phillip Rivers, it always looks like he's throwing hurt.
Yes,
that's what it seems like. That's what it seems like with Phillip Rivers. It always looks like he's
all like stiff when he throws.
Yeah.
Like, and like you said, you know, he looks like he's hurt, but he throws the ball like 60 yards, like it's nothing. I try to throw like that. I throw 10 yards and like I pull my hip.
Who's the weird throw in baseball? Is it Hunter Pence that has the weird throw?
Yes, Hunter Pence. Yes, him and
does he have like alligator arms though?
Yeah,
too, when he throws.
Him and there's another guy that does it's pretty similar to him. Oh my gosh, my mind's blank right now. But yeah, Hunter Pence does throw so awkward. Johnny Damon was another one.
Yeah, Johnny Damon did have a weird throw. You know, I have a weird throw too. I kind of get like a half sidearm thing going. And I'm like really like long armed when I throw. Like I take a lot of time like reaching back, and you know I don't have any juice on my throw. Right. Like I just get this reach back on it and just let it go. And I don't know. I need to shorten up my throw a little bit.
You got to try to practice the catcher throw. Bring it up to the ear and throw from the ear.
See, I feel weird doing that.
That's normal. That's a normal throw.
Yeah. See, like I get a pitcher's throw going when I don't need a pitcher's throw. But
you try to take that long stride when you throw.
Yeah. Anyways, but as far as this ESPN stuff, obviously more is to come out regarding this ESPN stuff.
And
it will too. Yes. Like I said, and you said it earlier. I hope these accusers take that next step.
Yes.
Because it's up to them. It's up to them to really expose, especially with the Carolina Panthers.
Yes.
It's really up to them to further expose all of this and bring a lot of this stuff to light. Now, obviously, there's two sides to every story here.
Right. You know, we're only hearing one side, to be honest, right now.
But we need to get that investigation going. Yep. We need to get these investigations going. More needs to come out about this because ESPN especially, ESPN looks like, and who knows how long this stuff has been going on for. I mean, obviously the Carolina Panthers have been around since 1993. Right. ESPN has been around longer than that. But, you know, this stuff needs to come out. We need to know how far this has gone. And And that Sara Walsh stuff alone, that's just sickening to hear of something like that. I know. That. Absolutely sickening.
So ESPN first came out September 7th, 1979.
Yeah. Been around for a long time.
You know what else started in 1979?
What's that? Well,
back then, it was the WWF. Now it's a WWE.
Oh, they started back in 1979?
1979.
That was... Is that when they first called it the WWF?
Yes.
Because
Wasn't it? There was something else before that.
Yeah, because they were actually called like the WWF.
Yeah.
I think before that.
But when it became the WWF, it was 1979.
Okay. Yep. Speaking of the WWE, I like that, Shawn. Did you do that on purpose?
Yes.
Stupid shit of the week. Vince McMahon is actually looking into possibly bringing back the XFL. Looking at possibly bringing back the XFL. And it's probably not going to come back as the XFL, Shawn, because what Vince McMahon has done is he has basically started another entertainment company up. And it's called Alpha Entertainment. And he has started to file trademarks regarding a potential new startup, professional football startup. And as we all know, the XFL, which came out in the early 2000s, ended in miserable failure. Lasted one season.
Right.
I can't remember who won. I don't know if it was the Los Angeles team or what. But there weren't many teams. I believe there were like 6 teams in total. I think there's a Los Angeles team. There's a New York team. There was I don't know if there was a Las Vegas team or not.
Yeah.
I think there's a Birmingham team or something. A Chicago team. There wasn't a lot of teams, though. And the championship game was the $1 million game. And if you won the $1 million game, you got $1 million. Remember Tommy Maddox, who played for the Pittsburgh Steelers before Ben Roethlisberger?
Yep.
He was in that game, and I believe he was the MVP of that game. And he came from, and there's some XFL players that made the jump to the NFL. But remember how they determined the coin flip? They didn't have a coin flip. You remember what they did?
What did they do? I can't remember.
They would run after a football and fight over a football like it was a fumble.
Oh.
And yeah, and I believe some guy ended up dislocating his shoulder in one of those scrums.
So there was actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams.
8 teams, okay.
Yes, the Birmingham Bolts.
Okay.
The Chicago Enforcers.
Yeah.
The Las Vegas Outlaws.
Okay.
The Los Angeles Extremes. Memphis Maniac. New York, New Jersey.
Hitmen.
Yeah. And then Orlando Rage and the San Francisco Demon. You know, this, in my mind, if they take it the right way, could be useful for the NFL. Because I could see maybe somewhere down the road as it merging into kind of like a minor league for the NFL. And obviously, they have their practice squads and all that stuff. But would it be bad to see a minor league NFL program kind of merging? You could see, more talent come out. Maybe ones that you're missing in the NFL that, scouts don't see on a regular basis.
So you'd make it kind of a, I don't know if it could run parallel with the NFL, though, during their season. I don't know if it could.
No, it wouldn't be. I don't think it could during their season. They would have to figure out something in the off season.
And this will run into our fan question right now, which is, can the United States support another professional football league? And right now, Shawn, you would think, because the NFL is they're having problems with viewership, ratings, and everything. You would think now would be the time to start something like that up.
Yeah.
However, I just don't think it can be done.
Right. I'm like,
I don't.
With the way the NFL is going right now and how to be honest, like I said, it's possibly almost the all-time low of viewing that, and a lot of that too, takes obviously place for a situation like what we're talking about the Panthers, to the protest for the anthem, to a lot of things with the NFL, what's going on. Obviously, the situation, like, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, when they were saying that, all the money that they were, raising for the salute to the Army wasn't going to, to the military or whatever, wasn't doing that. All this stuff, that's going on, that's the main reason why the viewing's so low. But maybe, something like this or something like that could spark something for the viewers to, come back.
Yeah.
But, I do agree with you. It's going to be so hard for them to even do something at this time of, with everything that's going on.
Yeah, I think, and I think you're onto something, Shawn, there when you said, minor league. And I don't know if that's the angle that Vince McMahon could potentially be looking at here, is a minor league to the NFL. Because a league on its own, we've seen it tried and we've seen it fail over and over and over again. Obviously, it started off with the USFL. Then we tried to do the World Football League.
But you look at it, the NFL is the only sport that doesn't have a minor league. Baseball has one, basketball has one, hockey has one.
Yeah.
Soccer has one. Why doesn't the NFL? You probably won't make as nearly amount of money, obviously, but you could bring back, the fans.
Yeah, and I guess the way that you have it work during the season is...
That's the hardest time, because like you said, I don't think it would work,
But the thing is, though, is if you're going to be doing a regular minor league...
That's true, because then in case somebody gets hurt...
Yeah, you would think you would need it during the season, But the thing is, though, is it's tough to work out like that because, okay, take for instance, because you're not going to be able to pull from that team that week because you figured that your minor league team would be playing the same week that you do. Let's say the minor league teams play on. Okay, so the NFL goes Thursday. Let's say the minor league team plays on Wednesday nights. Wednesday nights is minor league night in the NFL minor leagues. It's not like the Detroit Lions or the New York Giants or the Dallas Cowboys can take from their minor league that week because a player that just played on Wednesday isn't probably going to be ready to play on Sunday.
Right.
Or Monday night.
That's where I'm getting... I want... like, say if this happened or whatever, get rid of Monday Night Football for minor league. So for this, keep Thursdays and Sundays only for the NFL. You keep Monday nights for
minor leagues,
Monday and Tuesdays.
So you get that full week. There's no way they're going to get rid of Monday Night Football.
Right, though. Exactly, but
no way.
Or somehow,
something like that you would think would work, Shawn.
Or get rid of Thursday Night Football.
I'd be all on board.
I know a lot of people thought I'm saying get rid of Thursday Night Football and keep Sunday Monday.
Keep Sunday Monday and then play Tuesday nights.
Wednesday, Thursday.
So you play Tuesday nights.
No, you wouldn't play Tuesday nights. You just play Wednesday, Thursday.
In the minor league?
Yes. So then, or that's kind of hard to. Yeah, that wouldn't work either.
I would say play Tuesday nights.
Yeah, Tuesdays. Just get rid of Thursday Night Football. Have the minor league play Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you have Thursday, Friday, Saturday for the NFL in case somebody gets hurt. That's plenty of time for an ankle sprain to heal or a pulled muscle to heal or, just a tweaked muscle or something like that. It gives them plenty of time or even obviously, if they played a full game on Tuesday or Wednesday, they still have that time just to, rest up and guess what? You got called up.
Yeah. Because if that's the angle Vince McMahon is going for, then I can support something like that. I'd be all for.
But the thing is, could you provide 32 teams in the minor leagues?
Well, you would probably.
Or would would you do this? Or would you do 16 teams? 8 in each division, and obviously two teams can share their minor leagues.
Well, that's
with
probably
one
what
another.
happened because teams do that,
right?
I mean, in basketball they do it in the G League now,
right.
and they did it in hockey before,
right? Or each division, they have two teams for that division that you could pull from to another division, like the NFC West and the East and all. They have two teams each in that minor league that say if the say the Packers, obviously with Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, he could, they could bring up a quarterback from that team, or say the Chicago Bears could bring up a running back from that same team. That division shares those two teams, but they can pick from those two teams or something like that.
I'm trying to see how big an NFL practice squad is.
I think they're at 24.
Let's see here. An NFL practice squad. It's not really saying. 10 members.
10 members.
Squad.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're the 53-man roster.
So then the thing is obviously they could keep that.
I think you combine practice squads then.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. You could combine practice squads.
So you'd have 5 teams.
Or you could do it. Yeah, you could combine your practice squads, but you can only pull obviously from your practice squad that's on.
That's on a certain team.
Right, but you could have them go down and play. But then the only thing is you're taking a risk of them being hurt too, where then say if somebody goes down and that person's hurt because of the practice squad they're playing in the minors. Because football is obviously a lot different than baseball, basketball, because there's so many more teams.
Yeah.
So that's the hard thing. They would have to expand their practice squad to maybe 20 or 24 so that, they could go down and play, say if there is a minor league, but they still have enough capability if case one of those guys get hurt, they could have another backup plan.
Yeah. I think that's the ticket right there is to have, if Vince McMahon's looking to do this, is to have it be a minor league, an actual minor league. And I don't know if he's approached the NFL about this or whatnot, but trying to start an independent league
it's not
away
work.
from the NFL, it's not going to work.
No.
Like I said, we've seen it with...
It's never worked before.
No, we've seen it with UFL, we've seen it with USFL, we've seen it with the XFL. Even arena football's had its problems with trying to be sustainable. I mean, the Canadian Football League tried to...
And how long did the Canadian... I think they only lasted...
Canadian Football League's still around.
Is it still around?
Yeah.
I haven't paid attention to
Canadian Football League's been around for a long time.
Yeah,
I think they've been around longer than the NFL has. They used to have teams in the United States.
Did they?
Yeah, they used to have teams in Baltimore and Sacramento. I think there's a team in Houston, or somewhere in Texas. I can't remember exactly what city it was, but yeah, I mean CFL's been around for a long time, but I mean what they do is not sustainable in the United States though. So I don't know. Like I said, it's stupid shit of the week if Vince McMahon's trying to do another independent professional football league. If he's trying to attempt to do this the right way and approach the NFL about doing a minor league team or minor league, then that's something that maybe could work. I don't think the chances of it still working are very good.
I don't think it will work at all if he doesn't try to do some go towards a minor league football.
But I think a minor league team or a minor league entity in the NFL is still going to be tough. But if you're going to try to make this work, that's what you got to do.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Anyway, Shawn, what have we got? To finish out the show this week, and this year, actually.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, I would have thought. 2017's almost over. Did you have a good year? Did you have a good year?
Yeah, I had a really good year, but where did it go?
Yeah, I don't know.
It went by so fast.
It's better than last year, that's for damn sure.
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. TMS Extra News this week. This comes via busted coverage. Michigan tried to auction off Jim Harbaugh khakis. Starting bid $900, Shawn. You know how many bids they got on it? 0. They got 0 bids for some Jim Harbaugh khakis. Would you have bid on them?
No.
Not for $900?
Jim Harbaugh's not... He's a celebrity, but what has he done in his life?
Well, Michigan, nothing, but...
Okay.
$900 for...
Did he ever win a Super Bowl when he played?
No.
Did he win a Super Bowl when he coached in the NFL?
He got to a Super Bowl.
But did he win?
No.
And then what has he done? What did he do in Stanford? Did he win a title?
Oh, no, he didn't.
What has he done with Michigan?
Nothing.
So what is he? He's a normal human being, just like everybody else. You can get the same khakis at Meijer, Kroger. I'm not Kroger. Walmart, Target.
Oh, can you get khakis at Kroger?
I don't know, maybe. I've seen them sell clothes before in some of them, but I don't know.
You know what? I actually heard that they're going to try to make Krogers now. They're going to be like some super Krogers.
Oh, really?
But they're going to be like a Meijer almost. That's what I heard.
No, I mean, it wouldn't be bad. I'm like, gotta make money.
Yeah. Anyways, that's funny. If you're not a Michigan fan, you'll probably find that funny.
Yeah.
If Dorf was here, he'd probably find that hilarious.
Yeah. I'm a Michigan fan, so it's just like shaking my head. That's all I do, shake my head. It's like, come on, how much more embarrassing things can we do?
Former Cleveland Cavaliers head coach David Blatt came out and said that Kyrie Irving had been unhappy for years. And here's a quote from him. This comes via the Boston Herald. I can still remember Kyrie telling me, I want to come to the game and be happy, and I don't feel that way, Blatt said last week, relating the old conversation. It tells you the importance of feeling this way to Kai. He wants to be happy, and I think that's working for him right now. So Kyrie Irving, as we know, had that very, very rocky departure from the Cleveland Cavaliers, and here's their former head coach who didn't leave on the best terms either, and seemingly didn't have the best relationship with LeBron James. Now talking. He's back in Europe now, and it seems like coaching very, very well there, picking up right where he left off. But by the sound of it, Kyrie Irving hadn't been happy in Cleveland for quite some time.
He's pretty darn happy in Boston right now.
It seemed like it. It absolutely seemed like it.
Yeah, you could tell the difference of him, obviously his playing style to everything from when he was in Cleveland, now he's with Boston, because he actually has, he's one of those players that obviously he wants to be in the spotlight, he's good enough to be in the spotlight, and, he can obviously shown that he can run a team right now, and being behind LeBron James, you're never going to do that. That's physically impossible. So even if LeBron got hurt, he would still be in the, in the shadows of LeBron James. So you totally can tell the difference between him now and then. So,
yep. Moving along, according to the comeback here, Giants cornerback Eli Apple, what they say, committed a ghastly sin on the sideline last Sunday, this is. During his team's game against the Dallas Cowboys, he tweeted for that offense a violation of NFL rules. The Giants have fined him an undisclosed amount. And that was according to ESPN.
Didn't he learn his, from when Joe Horn pulled a cell phone out of the padding on the goal line, the end zone? Don't have cell phones on the field. You're going to get fined.
I remember when, who was it? It was Rick Meyer and Cortez Kennedy of the Seattle Seahawks. It was a long time ago. I believe Cortez Kennedy passed away too, not that long ago. They were, they snuck hot dogs onto the sidelines in a football helmet. And Cortez Kennedy was a big man. Cortez Kennedy was a big man. They were just sitting there eating, scarfing down hot dogs out of this helmet.
I don't see why
they got in trouble for that too.
I don't see why they could have some food or whatever. Baseball, you have sunflower seeds, the bubble gum, the protein bars, all that stuff. The NBA, I see them eating protein bars on the. Why can't the NFL do something like that?
Oh yeah, they do have a lot of shit in there in the MLB dugouts too.
Right? Yeah, I've seen bags of chips.
Well, maybe because it was. Maybe because it was hot dogs.
I know. I'm just saying something. They could have had protein bars for them or something like that. Remember those Gatorade gummy things? Ever had those before?
No.
Oh, they're so good.
Are those the things that supposedly quench your thirst?
Yeah, but they're so good.
Do they actually quench your thirst?
No, they make me hungry. It's just like eating Gushers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is. But they're good.
Gatorade gum. Is that
it's not gum. It's gummies. It's like Gushers.
Oh, I thought they had like gum that quenched your thirst.
They might. I don't know. I've never had. But I'll bring those things. Those Gatorade Gushers, and when we come back from the break, I'll make sure I get some. They're really good. I like they have blueberry or something like that. They have orange, and then I think they have fruit punch and grape.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've had them plenty of times, but I'm like, they're like, oh, substitute for Gatorade. No, it just makes me really hungry.
And finally, for some reason, the Knicks. Shawn, you talked about this in your bitch segment there. The Knicks gave a video tribute to Melo on his return to Madison Square Garden. Again, I don't understand it.
Mm-mm. And Carmelo's like, "Oh, it's Terry. Thank you. Go F yourself."
He was getting booed by some of the fans.
I would have been booing him so much.
Yeah. Ugh. Anyways, though, Shawn, though, that's gonna do it for this year.
Oh man, I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you. I already miss Dorf because he's part-timing it tonight.
Is that what it's gonna be when somebody misses it?
That's all it is. Yeah, we're part-timing it now.
Part-timing it. I don't know. I think when we come back, we're gonna be having a look ahead show. We're gonna be looking ahead to 2018 and maybe make some predictions and everything.
I'm actually really excited. Yeah. I'm really excited for our next show that we come back and do all that stuff.
Yep, we're gonna make some predictions, make some bold predictions on where the 2018 year is gonna go in the world of sports. So, anyways, though, Shawn, do you have anything else to close out the year with?
Nope. See you guys next year. Really.
All right. Well, like I said, that's gonna do it. It's been fun this year, everybody. Mm-hmm. Again, though, we will be back on the 8th. We're switching nights. We're going to be on Monday nights now, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, right here on themajors.net. So set your alarms for that, January 8th. So for Shawn, Dorf, have a happy holiday, everybody, and have a happy New Year. We'll see you on the 8th.